Hello, this is Ali Paolo, author of the Conquerors of Qatar sci-fi fantasy series, and I'm going to read to you a scene from Forebodings, book one of the novel. And I chose this scene because it is, well, one of my favorite scenes. And in it, we see the Sisterhood of the Light, which is an organization of powered women in the story, perform this ceremony to ascend the bodies of two of their fallen comrades following a battle with one of the enemies in the story. I'm going to define a few terms though before I begin. So one is Lux Baiula, which is Latin for light bearer. There's also Magna Mater, which is Latin for Great Mother. There are also the Prefectae, which are the heads of each of the four divisions of the sisterhood, which are known as Sashate. And there's also, and Sashate is, that is an invented word. And then there's also outer entrance, which are all people who are able to connect with what is known as the bind. The solemnity of the Ascension Ceremony that night quieted even the chirpers. Four yellow sashes, one in each corner of the plaza, banished the winds and kept all insects and other animals at bay and silent. The leaves of trees and other plants still fluttered outside the inner sanctum, but their rustling was not heard here. In the center of the courtyard stood the Magna Mater, the four Prefectae, and Crypta Lux Baiula, forming a semicircle around the bodies of Dadima and Juliana Lux Baiule. The latter were laid atop lacora beds placed in front of the flaming suns, and were wrapped in translucent dresses with interwoven white, yellow, purple, and red threads, representing the loss that the entire sisterhood had suffered as a result of their death. The bodies seemed almost alive thanks to the treatment they had received in the elevation chapel. Indeed, the medics had warmed the bodies sufficiently to cause the blood to flow back into the skin, enabling them to erase the signs of torture from Dadima's visage and the signs of the fall from Juliana's face. They had also reoxygenated their blood to give it a red color. None of this brought the women back to life, of course, but it certainly improved their appearance, which helped the living deal with the deaths. All around the courtyard, novices, juniors, and full sisters, as well as the city's 2,000 inhabitants, looked on in silence, waiting for the ascension of the two dead sisters' bodies. Christiana signaled the juniors attending the flaming suns, and suddenly the spheres began to accelerate, while the blue and golden flames grew in intensity around them, giving rise to faint crackling sounds, the first sounds of the ceremony. The onlookers released quiet gasps. Christiana began, her powerful voice resonating through the plaza with a sad note. Magna Cetara congregamur dare tibi sororibus nostris, eus qui mortui sunt tibi servandum, sorores nostris mentibus nunc nos ligare. And in English, Great Katara, we are assembled to give you our sisters, those who have fallen for you. Sisters, let us now bind our minds. The 6 women now began entering the bind, while all the other outer entrants in attendance connected themselves to their leaders so that they might witness the ascension from within the bind. The Magna Maters, the Prefectaes, and Krupta's heart slowed to the prescribed beat as they searched for each other in their 3-year world. The love of the pumping muscle became louder and louder within the bind as the women found each other and their pulses synchronized themselves until suddenly the sound exploded through the plaza as one single repeating heartbeat. The auditory spectacle was augmented by a visual one just as wondrous, with the crackling and zapping of undulating scarves of blue light connecting Christiana to all the other outer entrants, their hair stretching toward her and hers toward them. Gasps of pure astonishment and wonder spread through the courtyard among even the sisters. The shimmering from within the bind began to manifest itself around the flaming suns, and a wondrous pattern of myriad colors appeared around the spinning spheres. The filaments of light now stretched toward the Magna Mater, the assembly heads, and Krupta, and from then onward to the bodies of the fallen. Everyone looked on in anticipation of the ascension, a rare event given the long lives of Lux Baiule and the infrequency of violent deaths, when the Magna Mater started slowly spreading arms open, followed by Sarah and Ramela Luxpaiule, the heads of the Sachades to which the deceased belonged. As the three women continued to open their arms, Dalima's and Juliana's bodies began to shimmer, and the most amazing song arose suddenly from the throats of a group of juniors standing on the steps of the Elevation Chapel. The guttural chant moved from stained graves to gut-wrenching, unending crescendos, all in synchrony with the golden and blue flames surrounding the spheres, and with the shimmering light which rose from the bodies of the dead. When the song reached its apex, the dead disintegrated themselves with an explosion of light which flowed into the spheres behind them at an ever-increasing rate. Just then, Christiana, Sarah, and Ramela began shouting, D'anima lux paiula, intra iunctionem! Juliana lux paiula, intra iunctionem! They repeated the incantation, which was picked up by the onlookers until the bodies completed their transformation and the last particles of light left the Lacora beds to enter the bind through the flaming suns. The juniors now brought their song to a sudden end, thus marking the completion of the sisters' transmutation. Around the plaza, some 2,500 flushed faces tried to regain their composure. Christiana gave the prefecte as well as Krypta a nod filled with sorrow as well as with pride. Sorrow for the loss and pride for the traditions which held the order strong and united. The women responded with similar nods, after which the Magna Mater turned to Krypta Luxpaiula to thank her for receiving Juliana's memories and invited her to her office in the morning so that the young Luxpaiula may share anything which Juliana knew and which might be of importance to the sisterhood in the present situation. Finally, the Magna Mater addressed all in attendance with a voice filled with conviction and certainty, despite her misgivings, and ended the Ascension Ceremony with a 1,000-year-old formula. Those who have left us have arrived. May we continue as strongly in their absence. This done, the crowd dispersed, most civilians returning to the lower city, while the Luxpaiule and their attendants walked to their private chambers. And as the plaza emptied, except for the juniors who would be tending to the flaming spheres that night, the breeze returned, and the insects of the night reclaimed their voices. This was a reading of a scene from Forebodings, Book 1 of the Conquerors of Katara series, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, let me know in comments. Thank you.